You too. Just wanted to give you a little update on things here today. In the spirit of transparency, I did close the Bitcoin long this morning. I think we got in there around 86.4. I think I closed it around 86.2 or so. So took a small hit on it. CPI did not exactly go the way I wanted today. So I'll talk about that. I still think there's a potential for a trade here. I just think at this point, it is likely going to end with us like running these lows maybe into this little area. And then, I don't know, still a potential for a bounce there. I am getting just a little disenchanted trading crypto at the moment. To be honest, the price action is complete fucking mental illness AIDS. I've been doing really well in TradFi, so not sure how much more crypto content I'll be posting. I mean, who am I kidding? I can't quit you, crypto. But yeah, Bitcoin looking like it needs at least another leg down. Whether it's worth trading, I think is debatable. This whole structure is just looking so bad. Everything basically hanging in the balance of stocks. We talked a little bit about stocks yesterday. I got kind of a mixed bag today on CPI. Just to kind of review what I was thinking. My thoughts here are that the monthly time frame is pretty bullish, and I still think we have another leg up here, probably to about 7,800 or so. I know some people are calling for 6,100 or lower. It's a possibility. I don't think it's like super likely. Like if I pop over the 2 month candle here, right? Like this is just it's a really bullish candle. We haven't taken the high, so it wouldn't shock me to kind of trade down into here, this little fractal. And if I pop open the daily, you can see that's kind of like a juicy area, right? We've got this kind of sideways flat correction here. So everybody gets bearish. We dump into here maybe to start the year and then go higher. Wouldn't necessarily be expecting a lot lower, but it's possible. As far as the risk reward goes for taking longs and shorts, like we are at an inflection point right here. So I am of the opinion, less so now, but heading into the week, I was of the opinion that we were going to do a little consolidation, manipulate, and then go higher, right? So in order for that to play out here, what I wanted to, and what I still could potentially see, is a closure here above this breaker. And then that would be a very nice setup, I think, to take to all-time highs. Coming off, there's a breaker right here on the 4-hour chart. So the setup for some sort of kind of consolidation, deviation, this being a reaccumulation, is really good. It's a little less good today. The move off the inflation print, I would say, was not great. I don't know if that's because the inflation numbers are just completely bogus now and the market is in a state of indecision. But the print came out 8:30, which was right here. And at one point, we almost retraced the entire move, which is never a great sign. I've been kind of consolidating between this order block and the pre-print order block here. The 4-hour chart honestly looks not horrendous. I've got kind of mixed feelings about it. We did close through this bearish fair value gap there. So looking for this area to keep supporting price. We tested it and closed through it over here. I want to see candles start to close through. I think that would probably be a bad sign. I think if you close through this gap, you could end up kind of flipping it into resistance and taking it down. So I don't want to see that happen. The daily close as of now is pretty, I would say, not great. Ideally, we would have closed above the previous day's high. That would have been the most bullish thing. I would have settled for a close above previous day's open. Would hope we at least get a close above the mid-range today. So if we kind of come up here, reject, and come all the way back down and settle below the mid-range after that CPI print, I would view all those things kind of in aggregate as like somewhat bearish signals. And the chart is a mixed bag because you've got a bullish setup here because this is a sweep of the October low, an order block, and a very impulsive move up. But at the top here, you have a sweep of the October high. You've got a change in the state of delivery right here with the closure below. And then pretty clean retest of this breaker block here, which we rejected from today. Could even draw it as both of those, and it's probably the better one there. You can see the respect of the mid-range of that area. So none of that is super bullish. It is possible we could just come down into here and go back up. More likely, I think, is that we trade November low. We did have a red close candle in November, so I think this low could definitely be a target. I would probably guess that this area is at least a strong bounce zone. It's kind of nice untapped demand from the summer that we've been consolidating above. So on stocks, we could definitely come in here and, take out this low back inside the range and go. That's super possible. If we lose this and kind of underside retest it, then that brings in the possibility, I would say the probability of a 6,100 at a minimum, and possibly a full retrace all the way towards the tariff area where we've got some fresh kind of unmet demand there, and that would be a pretty nasty pullback. That's kind of like almost crisis levels, right? That's minus 20%. This here is just a healthy 5% pullback, so nothing to worry about there. But yeah, overall, I would say lower time frame equities look very, very, very sus. It makes sense to just play it safe and be hedged here because the invalidation is so simple, in my opinion, with a close above this level, close above validating the breaker block, right? Consolidation, manipulation. It's a classic power of three model. And then you can be kind of turbo long with a stop here playing towards, 7K plus. So being short here is a pretty easy invalidation. And then, the downside from here, I think is probably 5% at a minimum, but possibly as bad as, 10% to 20%. So I'm hedged right now. I haven't sold too much of my long exposure. Haven't sold any long-term portfolio. Took some profits on on Tesla, which is still, one of my favorite stocks in existence. I think the chart is it's a little bit wacky on the lower time frame. On the really high time frame, this is just a gigantic order block that we've kind of just closed above and retested. So I think high time frame, this is just breaking out towards 800 to 1,000 or so, and I think we could see that relatively quickly. On the lower time frame, things can get a little bit dicier. It'd be interesting to see where we close the weekly candle. Like if we close this weekly candle with like some sort of sweep and even like bearish or something like that, that would bring into play, in my opinion, this range here potentially. If things get really ugly. If I zoom in though on the 3-day and clean things up a bit, I think in all likelihood the worst case scenario is probably 420. Nice. This order block here looks very, very juicy. This is probably the highest probability target here, around 445 or so. Not a huge pullback, 7%, which is kind of nothing in Tesla land. I just view all of this as buys. Like the most bearish scenario is where we get some sort of failure, kind of like back inside this range, and maybe run out something lower before going higher. Some juicy little order blocks there, and then you have the higher time frame zone, right? The mid range of that is right there. So 260 or so is probably like the mortgage your house to buy Tesla level. But honestly, this thing looks great. It's kind of almost doing its own thing at this point. It looks much more bullish than the Nasdaq and ES, the S&P, probably because of Nvidia and the effect Nvidia is having, dragging those down. But yeah, that's kind of my main focus now in TradFi land. Got a couple other small positions there. I've been talking about those in the Discord. So if you want to come chat with me about that, feel free to check it out below. Free Discord for traders and investors alike. So yeah, I guess in summary, tried to play a bounce on crypto, cut the losses on that. I am waiting for more info here on equities, but I do see the potential for downside here. I think it makes sense to just assume that we're going down and then flip bias on like a close above this level, and even use this as a long trigger, and a generalized risk on signal for the rest of the market. Although crypto seems to not even care that much when equities are risk on. So read into that what you will. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Feel free to give the channel a like, throw the video a like if you enjoy the content. Going to try to continue making these updates a little more frequently. I am a shorter time frame trader by nature, so sometimes when I don't produce content for a while and I go look at it, it looks really fucking stupid because like, oh, I flipped that position twice since the last time I made the video. So you really want to be in the Discord for me. I produce a lot of content there, kind of going back and forth, crypto, futures, you name it. So check that out. Free Magic Lines Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you